What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jake from Citizen JB, and today I want to talk about Dying Light the Beast. This is a follow-up direct sequel to the expansion called known as The Following for the original Dying Light. While I did like Dying Light 2 to a certain degree, it didn't have that much gravitas, basically, from what the original game was able to do and utilize, what you're able to do with its core systems and mechanics of it and the world of Haran. It was simply breathtaking. I loved it through and through. I played the first game, I would say, more than 5 times. I know that means a little drastic maybe, but either or. Alright, I want to talk about Dying Light the Beast here because I love the setting in this game. It's really, really cool. And, Castor Woods, the Swiss Alps, and, it's a very provocative type of setting because I'm very intrigued by it. And this game is more of a world rather than just along with the story. And that is one thing I will say about this game, though, too, is that the story in this game is actually very well told. It actually means something. I always thought when it came to Dying Light 2, for me personally, the story was good, but it was not very cohesive enough from the first one. And even though from the following from Dying Light as well it was pretty cohesive because there was a lot more going on, because it was a direct continuation from the first Dying Light, because it expanded the whole entire universe of the first game itself. And I think that's where this game series as a whole, other than going into Dying Light 2, it's so interesting. And it was the stories. It was the fact that you played as a mercenary known as Kyle Crane. And he's finally back for Dying Light the Beast. And I love this character. And I love the voice actor. His name is Roger Craig Smith. He did the voice and the Italian, basically, voice for Ezio Auditore da Firenze in the Ezio trilogy. And kudos to him because he did a magnifique job in those games as well. So, again, going into Dying Light the Beast, for me, not just as a veteran to these games specific, I think the parkour is a little bit more refined. I think the combat is somewhat refined, but it's still of the original physique and basically the original to its own gameplay aesthetic from the original game. And that's great. I love that. And I think that's where, for me, or for anyone out there that are true Dying Light veterans, like I said, much like myself, I think that this game not just has the true potential of it being an amazing game, which it is. It really is, because it's giving us more of the story of what happened to Kyle Crane 13 years after the events of the original, or basically the original Dying Light the Following, right? And so I think for me, that's where it feels that it's very cohesive and it knows what it's doing, and it's not just about the parkour, it's not just about the gameplay, it's more about the story, really. But again, parkour and the gameplay does have its unique ways and flaws in a way to where it still feels a little clunky, but it has that good old school clunk from the original game. And I think that's where, for me, it's amazing. I love that. So, again, the world of Castor Woods of the Swiss Alps, it's simply breathtaking. It has its seasonal values as well. And what I mean by that, it has rain season, it has a sunny season and all that kind of stuff. It has different types of biomes, as it were, like an industrial zone or like in the woods and that sort of thing. And that's what I love about this game, though, too. And I think that's where what the first Dying Light was able to do, and even the following, it was all nothing but countryside, right? But again, I think that's where Dying Light the Beast is concerned. It has its own unique type of flavor to it. Because like I said, with the different biomes, you're able to get into these interesting vistas. You're able to get into certain areas in the game to where, oh wow, that's very intriguing. Oh, this looks so beautiful, right? And I think that's where Dying Light the Beast really capitulates that and captures that so well and encapsulates it to where it's like, oh, you're often wondering, where should I go next? And that's where this game really borrows from, from Dying Light 2, from Dying Light, and then Dying Light the following. And like I said before, this game just has a very renowned franchise as it is. It's just simply breathtaking to its own unique degree. And the world has its own unique physicality. It has its own world building, and it's the environmental storytelling as well. And that is one thing I definitely really got right off the rip when I started playing this game for the very first time and then going out into the real world of the game. And it's just so good. And now I want to talk about one thing here, though, too. They did implement some of the mechanics of, putting different modifications on your weapons like you were able to do from Dying Light 2. Not so much from Dying Light 1, but a little... Well, actually, there was a mixture of Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2 mixturizations of, doing implemental of the weapons that you can be able to pertain that you are able to use in the game, right? You have your hatchets, you have your two-handed weapons, you have your crossbow, you have your regular bow, right? And so, but you can do different types of iterations of putting different types of modifications on your weapons, and I think that's where this game brings the crux back to a game like Dying Light the Beast, and it's very well implemented. I am actually very, very impressed of how far Techland has come to not just bring back a beloved character like Kyle Crane. I did like Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2 a little bit, but overall, I like Kyle Crane better because it's not because of Roger Craig Smith that does the voice, but he's just a very emblematic figure. He was just fleshed out better in its own unique way. And I think that's why I think the first Dying Light and even the following was just absolutely fantastic. And there is one thing I would really like to discuss here before we get towards the end of this video, is that I had a theory many years ago after I finished the first Dying Light for the very first time. And I said to myself, I'm kind of wondering if Kyle Crane actually survived, because that was before the expansion came out. And then when I played the following expansion for the very first time and finished it for the very first time, I actually ended up getting the bad ending. And then I replayed it again and I got the good ending. I'm just like, wow, there was so many different types of benefit as to what the good ending was able to pertain or what the bad ending was able to pertain. And lo and behold, my theory was correct that Kyle Crane was simply alive, because there were two different endings for the following. And to me, I think that's where, for me, it was just like, oh my God moment, basically. It was just simply absolutely amazing. And I'm glad that he finally came back as the true sequel to the expansion of Dying Light the following. So again, I think this is a must play. And so I hope everyone really loves this game as much as I am. But please feel free to put any comments or questions in the comment section below. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Citizen JB, and you guys have a good rest of your week. Peace.